to Land and Movement, getting smart about how you move. I'm Hazel. Thanks for joining me for Coffee and Move number 23. It's freezing here in Christchurch today. I believe we're in day 18 or something like that of our retreat. And today we're just going to get our arms moving to start with by swinging them as we do in reciprocal arm swing. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit of really nerdy, geeky stuff about gait. So when we're walking, our arms swing with our opposite leg, basically. And this is to help with counter rotation in the upper body. And it should be initiated by us pulling our arm back, and then it swings forward. We pull our arm back, it swings forward. And so we should be using the muscles on the back of the arm to do that. But it depends what muscles are on the back of your arm based on the position of your humerus. So coming really close, a neutral humerus is where your elbow pit is facing forward. So if I'm doing that, I know it's my tricep that's on the back of my arm that's going to be pulling my arm back. And this is really important for lymph drainage. So the body is really smart, and every time you walk, it uses that as an opportunity to drain lymph from your arm back and take the lymph back to your chest area here, and then put that lymph back into the cardiovascular system. So it's pretty clever. And so when we're walking in maybe this way, trying to pump our arms and running, we don't actually get as much lymph drainage. So you can get lymph drainage just by swinging your arms like this. You should get it when you're going for a walk. That is the double whammy, and then you're getting a whole lot of lymph drainage in the rest of your body as well. But also the angle of your humerus will mean how you're swinging. So we've all seen people who swing their arms like this, and that is an indication of where their humerus is sitting. If it's massively internally rotated, they're more likely to be swinging across their body. And so we want to help do movements that help to put our humerus back naturally in a neutral position, which is with that elbow pit facing forward. So to do that, we do exercises like this, where we take our humerus into external rotation. So I'm not internally rotating it, I'm taking it into external rotation. So here we call this the beer can stretch. Imagine you've got 2 cans of beer in your hand. You take your arms like this, and then you tip those beer cans out behind you. And pour all that lovely beer on the floor. Or Coca-Cola, or something just crap, basically. You don't want to pour out something really nice, but not much good comes in a can. Unless, of course, you're a beer fan. Okay, so this I can feel up on my shoulders, all the way up into my neck. But it's helping me to create movement in the tissues that I need movement in, so that when I'm just relaxed here, my elbow pit is facing forward, which mine has got dramatically better over the last couple of years. I used to have a massively internally rotated humerus, and as a result, I quite often had sore shoulders. I also was not using my rotator cuff muscles much at all. I was always just slopping my scapula around my back. So we want a neutral scapula. So coming back to this one, externally rotating, and you can reach out. You can also do this one, like I love doing this one hand at a time. Keep the chin in and drop that neck away, then that will give you more of a stretch where you need it. And in this position as well, I hope you're not rib thrusting. So rib thrusting is this, right? See how I have tipped my rib cage back, the bottom of my rib cage has come forward. I want my rib cage in a neutral position, which means that the ASIS at the front of the hip and the bottom of the rib cage are on the same vertical plane there. You don't want the rib cage to be forward of the ASIS. On the same horizontal plane. So take the arm out, externally rotate, and drop that neck away. And then on the other side, I just held my breath there, did you notice? Because I got to a point where I was like, gee. So your breath is something that I'm listening to all the time to help me work out what's happening in my body. If I stop breathing, that's a good cue for me to check back in with what's going on. Yeah, and this for me is quite a big stretch down the back of the neck. It's in a levatus gap, it feels like. Yeah. This is a lovely stretch. You can also do that one, of course, just when you're on the phone. You can bring it into your daily life in ways without actually having to take time to do it. So while we're on gait, talking about gait, reciprocal arm swing, we might as well do some top of the foot stretch. So the foot is lacking in mobility hugely in most Westerners because of shoes and flat surfaces. The foot needs to be challenged all the time by uneven surfaces, by different gradients of surfaces, and we just walk on flat surfaces all the time. So our foot mobility is very poor in most of us, and so this top of the foot stretch is a great one for getting some movement through the top of the foot. And so from the side also, you don't want to have that banana going on, you want that weight back in this heel. So the femur is neutral or straight up and down. The femur is vertical. And let's do that on the other foot, the top of the foot stretch. We could have also done, this is the cool thing about when you become better at certain movements. Now I can do this on this side, and I could also do some forefoot eversion with this leg. So I could be pushing the big toe and the ball of my foot on this side down into the ground without moving my ankle, which is more challenging now that I'm basically just balancing on this foot. But the strength of the big toe is key for us to be able to have a nice toe off part of our gait sequence. And, big strong toes is, what makes us work really well. Other apes don't have the strong big toe, and it's almost like an opposable thumb. And the bones in their hands are bent and all kinds of wonderful things, so we are different, but you can bring all of these movements together. So I'm getting the top of the foot stretch, I'm getting forefoot eversion here, and I'm getting the neck stretch here. You will notice that when you start doing lots of stretches together, that your attention is spread more diffusely, right? And so generally when you start to do exercises, you just want to do them one at a time, because you want your attention to be specifically listening to what's happening in the area of your body that you're really focusing on. So I like doing this combo, top of the foot stretch, forefoot eversion, pushing this toe down into the ground with my quad off and doing this on the side. I find it a little bit more challenging and a little bit more fun. And also I'm trying to push that big toe without moving the ankle. You don't want to be moving the ankle like I am now. You just want to be pushing that big toe into the ground. You want to be looking down at your feet and going, yeah, they look like little beans. Kathleen Porter wrote a really great book called Natural Posture for Pain-Free Living, I think. And she's got these beautiful photos of really cool, healthy feet. And when you look down on them, they just look like a couple of kidney beans side by side, because they've got these beautiful arches and whatnot. Okay, my quad's coming on a little bit here, so I'll turn that off. So this is a 3-in-1. Top of the foot stretch, forefoot eversion, and some nice movement happening in my neck and arm, taking me out of that internally rotated position. So we'll just get back into doing a little bit of swinging and really focus on pulling your arm back and letting it swing forward. Pull it back, let it swing forward. Do one at a time just to cue into that. So I'm pulling it back, swing forward, pull back, swing forward, pull back, swing forward. And then you can of course do this together. And then we can just stand on one leg, because when we're walking, we are transferring our weight from one leg to the other. Sometimes we have our weight in both feet, but we've got to get really good at carrying the weight of our body on one leg, which many of us aren't that good at. So in walking, you want to take the weight onto one leg so that this leg can swing forward, and you can take a step by really pushing off the back leg using the hamstrings and the glutes in the back. What most people do is they collapse because they don't have much strength in this hip. This knee is now bent. The only thing I can do is lift it forward with my already tight hip flexors and then fall forward. So we want to have the strength in the lateral hip and the glutes to lift the pelvis on the opposite side, swing the leg through, and so that's why we're practicing standing on one leg as we swing our arms and get some lymph drainage. It's also it adds a bit of a balance challenge. Have your weight back in the heel, on the other side now, and notice which leg for you feels better. My quad just came on this side, so turning that off, focusing on multiple things. Good for your body, good for your brain. Okay, and then to finish off with, let's do some hand stretches. So I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see. My head's chopped off there, but I'm bringing my wrist back, pulling each finger back and making sure that the fingers aren't bent when I'm doing this. So they're bent this way. What I mean by that is that you're not pulling them while they're bending that way, you just want them to relax like that. Yeah. So a little bit of hand stretching to finish off with. This will also help with the lymph drainage in your lower arm while you are swinging those arms as you go for a walk. Today, walking is the most human movement to do. I hope that you're doing a lot of it in your retreat. Potentially in a few days, 10 or 12 days, we may be going to level 3 here in New Zealand. And let's do some on the other side. So thanks again for checking in. I once again forgot to drink my coffee. It's down there. Finish up by stretching all of the muscles, all of the fingers I should say, all of those beautiful little parts in your hand. Give your hands a massage. Give yourself a high five. High fives to yourself, aka a clap, and have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.